Not that people weren't dying on the substances that were coming across the border before, but I mean, almost every public servant I know is issued Narcan now. I mean, that is how common it is. And I know parents who have teenage kids who have Narcan at the house because they understand that at a certain age, whether you tell them to or not, there's going to be a level of exploration, and they're understanding the lethality of this. It seems like, I mean, the profit margin might be through the roof, but you also have the potential to kill off your consumer base. And I'm wondering if you've heard any rumblings inside of the cartel about that concern, or are they just foot to the gas pedal to the floor and make as much money as you can while you can?
I mean, it's a very good question. It's something I've thought about myself. One thing, you know, as long as they're making money, and some of these guys don't care. Some of them don't care because, you know, they're, in a way, when I talk to some of these drug traffickers, and it's weird that you can find kind of human sides to them when you talk to them. I talk to them about committing murder. I talk to them about what they do. I talk about their experience of violence and all these kind of things. Sometimes you can find the human sides. But I say a lot of them have kind of made a pact with the devil, and I use that in a metaphorical way. But in a way, it's like a real way. I mean, like they've made a pact. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit murder. I'm going to do this. And that's the life I've chosen. That's me now. So they don't care. But also, I think and I do think this is a factor. When you're trafficking drugs to a different country, to different people in different places, it's like easier to care less about it,
to disassociate it.
Yeah, I think so, because then, now I'll get into this in a second. They banned some fentanyl sales in their own communities when they know their kids are going to school to these places. This is Australia. This is kind of, so you have like Sinaloa, a big drug trafficking place, and they're like, no one's allowed to sell fentanyl here. Now they know that their kids are at school and their families are at school. They don't want all their own guys. They don't want their own guys messing with this stuff. Even the guys who are mixing it, they don't say, don't take this stuff. Ban it here. Now, initially that was the same for crystal meth, and now crystal meth use is really rising in Mexico. And the same could start happening with fentanyl. So there's definitely a real issue of like, you know, this stuff can get worse. But like, there is right now, and it's kind of hard to read this. It's always hard to like, so the world of cartels is smoke and mirrors. They're now claiming in Sinaloa, which is, you know, the big place of production, to have banned the production of fentanyl. Saying, and they've actually got big banners out with these words saying nobody sells fentanyl, nobody makes fentanyl right now. Now, there's different theories about this. One is it's simply a way because they know that, you know, the American DEA, the American government is really gunning for these top guys right now over fentanyl. It's like created heat on them. So they're trying to use that to kind of deflect. It could also be to get people out, an excuse to get people who have not, you know, are not paying them. But it's hard to know. I mean, could they really try and remodel their business again and just say, go back to cocaine and, you know, say, well, you know, we should take this back a bit. Maybe this is because it has risen the heat in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, you're talking in the United States, people are talking about, well, we're going to make them terrorists. We've got to bomb Mexico. And a lot of that is the result of fentanyl deaths. You know, that's what's causing this reaction. Someone could be realizing, is this going to, but yeah, I mean, about in terms of how much, and it's unprecedented. It's unprecedented to have 100,000 plus people dying every year of this. You know, like it's young, healthy people. Many people are dying. It's not like it's just like people who are old and frail. A lot of like COVID deaths or whatever. It's young, healthy people who can be, you know, real healthy, young, 18, 20 years old. You take a pill and bang, you're dead. I mean, this stuff is really lethal. So
it seems to largely be accidental. It's people who, from again talking to my law enforcement friends locally, the seriousness of the issue is not from people looking for fentanyl. It's them accidentally stumbling across fentanyl and something that they're taking a pill that they thought was something else, you know, or smoking something or snorting something that they thought was something else. And the next thing you know, they're face down.
Absolutely. Yeah. And these, I mean, again, sometimes it's hard to figure out why they'll get cocaine and they'll shove fentanyl in cocaine. It's like you deliberately trying to poison people.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a good strategy. Not that I'm an expert in cocaine by any stretch, but that one doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, something I think is like, you got a kilo of cocaine. And say that kilo of cocaine costs you $20,000. And you can, you know, sell it, you know, a bit down the road for $40,000, $50,000. But you put some fentanyl in it and some other stuff, and then suddenly you got 3-4 kilos of cocaine. You know, you're making it because this stuff is such a powerful substance.
Yeah.
But then you're creating this kind of venomous thing. So that's one explanation of it. But it's crazy. I mean, we have to see how much will this burn itself out, or how much would you just get more and more people. Now, it's not only the people dying of fentanyl. So I grew up around a lot of drug use in England, and I talked to people, you know, new people who were like taking heroin. And since I've been doing my work reporting on this, I've been around these places and talked to people who have been like heroin addicts and people who've been into all kinds of drugs. And you could, even though they were, you know, heroin users, you could talk to them and so forth. You see some of the people who are like on fentanyl and meth, and some of them, and it sounds a bit of a dehumanizing language, but some of them are like zombies.
I was going to use the same term. It's like they're existing on another plane.
Yeah. So it's also like really damaging and creating this kind of a group of people, which is just like, you know, so yeah, I mean, the damage to society is really, really big. I mean, and there needs to be I think the United States needs to have a real clear strategy to say this is a number one. I mean, it says various issues,